Hello there and welcome. Yes, we are Geeks Assembled, and we have assembled here again today to talk about a television series. And this time we're going to talk about Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Yes, let's take a guide through the galaxy, and let's go to Beef Dad first. What does Beef Dad have to say about this television series?
It's a classic. A total 100% gold-plated classic. It's a brilliant cast, using several of the leads from the original radio version. Thinking particularly of Peter Jones, the voice of the book, and Simon Jones, no relation, playing Arthur Dent. As Arthur Dent, he is just absolutely amazing. Nobody else has touched him. They made a film of it, but it doesn't really touch it. The wonderful thing about it was quite groundbreaking in its time. 1981. It was one of the first uses of animatronics. For Zaphod Beeblebrox's extra head, and the arm was done by another person who was not an actor, which he complained about because, the point where he welcomes Ford Prefect onto the bridge of the Heart of Gold, he says, hi to him. And he said the third arm wasn't an actor's arm, you could tell. Where do you start with something like this? The brilliant writing. At no point does it drag. There is always something to watch. There is always something going on. There is always something funny happening. With Simon Jones laying down in front of the in front of the machines that are going to knock down his house, and then they talk the guy who is running the demolition into laying in front of the wrecking crew for him, because he's got to go to the pub with Ford Prefect, his friend that comes from Betelgeuse, from a planet close to Betelgeuse. There are just so many brilliant performances, so many standout performances. I absolutely loved Richard Vernon, the Slutty Bartfast. Now, Richard Vernon at the time wasn't really known for doing much in the way of comedy. He was very much a serious actor and a serious stage actor. He had done about 6 years before a brilliant series on the television called The Man in Room 17, where you had a few old men and they all solved cases literally just by using their brains. Very, very clever. He was just he also did The Duchess of Duke Street, which was very, very big in the UK. Sandra Dickinson as Trillian. Everybody thought, oh dear, is this going to work? And yes, it did. It worked brilliantly. The girl is a brilliant actress. She could have done it in an English accent. In fact, she's actually well known for being a superb actress who can use a lot of accents. But they said to her, no, use your own voice. Mark Wing Davey playing Zaphod Beeblebrox. Now, one of the funny things about that is the animatronic head that they built for him actually cost more than he was paid for doing the show. And at the time, animatronics was in its very early state. And for them to have managed to do that from the BBC was pretty good going. They didn't really cut things on this. They made it as good as possible. Martin Benson, who played the Vogon captain, another brilliant classical actor. I could just go on for hours and hours and hours. The thing is, you also had big names playing little tiny parts. The aliens drinking the Intergalactic Gargle Blaster lasted, I think, a matter of about 15 seconds. And yet the girl in that was Cleo Rockus, who was well known as Kenny Everett's straight woman in the on the television. Dave Prowse played the bodyguard, one of what's his name's bodyguards, the rock star's bodyguards, and he'd go on. He had already done Star Wars, and of course we had a doctor in it who was dish of the day at the restaurant at the end of the universe. Magical, and just the whole thing is just absolutely magical. So if you find you have any mice in your house, be careful. They're watching you. And this, well, I can't give it more than 10 out of 10, but it gets a 10 out of 10.
A 10 out of 10. Thank you, Beef Dad. Do you know, I had a funny feeling it would be a 10. I had a funny feeling. Now let's go over to Texas Tim. Go ahead, Texas Tim.
Well, it's interesting the way we saw it here in the States, because what you had was a TV series that was based on, I guess, a book that was based on a radio show. They're all very similar, but they're all slightly different. The books kept coming, like every couple of years there'd be a new sequel to the book. So much so that you have a 5-part trilogy, and it's all a lot of fun. I mean, it's really good. Douglas Adams is an amazing writer. He really creates some interesting worlds and stuff, and I really loved what he did on Doctor Who as well. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. I remember seeing it in the early to mid 80s on the PBS station with a lot of other British shows that we would get. That's where they would show them. That's the public broadcasting system, and I enjoyed it very much. It's really ironic to me now that you have hand animated computer graphics throughout. I mean, that's pretty funny, because they were actually, you know, prefiguring what that would look like when you had computers finally. But yeah, I can't argue with anything Beef Dad said. The cast is amazing. It's all very well done. The less said about the movie, the better. The one that they tried to have years later. I would say I'd give it probably a 9 out of 10. It's fun to watch about once a year or so.
A 9 out of 10. Thank you, Texas Tim. Now let's head on over to Alex. Go ahead, Alex.
Yes, it is a great series. It is a great radio show. They are great books. And the animation and the voice of the book, the Hitchhiker's Guide with the Don't Panic on the front, and you always have your towel just in case, is very funny, and the wonderful jokes and the wonderful sarcasm and the great theme music and the great animation It is. I still like the TV show better than the radio show. The books, of course, I have, and it was a big item in the household, and that's good. As far as the acting is good. The only problem with the show is the low budget, but they did their best, and it does move along and it doesn't drag. And hopefully, whoever's interested can either read the book or see it on YouTube or get the disc. And I'd give it a 9 for the writing and the special effects.
A 9. Thank you, Alex. Now let's head on over to Jason. Is Jason there? Yeah. Go ahead, Jason.
I thought it was pretty interesting. I mean, watching this one, and well, I've seen the movie itself, but I've also seen this for the past week, and definitely pretty funny in different episodes, and enjoyed Peter Davison's performance on this one as being the dish of the day. I know no one has talked about the guy who played Black Guardian from Doctor Who, also played Deep Thought on this one. I think it was episode 3 or 4, I think. I know it's by Valentine who played him. But rest of the characters in this one, also, Dent was definitely a great character in this one. My favorite one is Marvin. Has to be Marvin, the depressed robot. He's got to be my favorite on this one. Him or Arthur, they're both my favorite in this story. There's much to say between how brilliant this one is. There's, I don't know, I'm just too tired at the moment to do so much thinking. But I give this a 9 out of 10.
Another 9. Thank you, Jason. Now let's head on over to Connor. Let's go to Leeds with Connor. Go ahead.
Yeah, this TV series is definitely far better than the later film. Definitely, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, that film should be forgotten. But it's it's great writing. It's funny. It's typical Douglas Adams. It's sort of a low budget TV series, but as always, when the writing clicks, it doesn't matter a jot what the budget is because it just works. It just works magic, and this certainly does. I've not read the books, but my understanding is that this TV series, while it's adapted from the radio play, it's also quite faithful to the book as well. And I believe this was also made as the series was still being released. So the series wasn't fully complete by the time this TV series aired. As Beef Dad mentioned, there's loads and loads of cameos. There's obviously Dave Prowse, who went on to play, or did play, Darth Vader by the time this TV series came out. And of course, you've got Peter Davison in there, as Jason mentioned, the one that played the Black Guardian. And you've also got Jeffrey Beavers, who played the Master as number 3 in this. So there's loads of Doctor Who connections in there. Overall, like Hitchhikers, as the film was, unfortunately, quite philosophical. There's a lot of philosophical aspects in there. One of my favourite bits being the Babel fish. That was quite philosophical. Maybe not factual, let's see. But it was, it questions life. It questions the meaning of life in a funny sort of way. It's quite goofy as well. The one that plays Dent is irreplaceable. He's the best of them all, even better than Martin Freeman, who is a great actor. I think overall this TV series has got to get at least an 8.5 out of 10 from me.
An 8.5. Thank you, Connor. Now, let's go to our very own Ford Perfect. Yes. Let's go to Lee.
Perfect or prefect? But anyway, I'll take perfect. Thanks, Ali. This is. I remember watching this when it was broadcast back in '81. it took me. I was amazed with it then, and I'm still amazed with it now. As you said, the acting is totally up there. Writing Douglas Adams was on his top form when he was writing this. I mean, he even makes a cameo in this as the guy who strips off and runs into the sea. That's Douglas Adams in there. His writing it's so, it can be so surreal and so it can hit home as well, because it's always taking the Michael out of modern day life, and that sort of writing I just love. I mean, the Vogons, and telling everybody on Earth, it was up there. The notice for the planet's destruction was up there. You could have read it, but what do you mean you've never been to Alpha Centauri? It's just so brilliant. But Stephen Moore, who voiced Marvin, the paranoid android, what a brilliant job he did. It's a shame he went out that way in the series, but each character has to go. Sandra Dickinson. I'm not a big fan of Sandra Dickinson, but she pulled it off. She did. She pulled it off on this one. Trillian. I can't. When you say Trillian now, because there's been so many people who have played Trillian on the radio, in the movies, but when you say Trillian, I always think of Sandra Dickinson now. It's Peter Davison as the dish of the day. I just lovely seeing that. Try my liver. It's nice and tender, and the comedy in this is so brilliant. And as people have said, the guy who played the Black Garden, Valentine Dial, the voice of Deep Thought, what an awesome actor. I can't fault this. It's as I said, surreal, comedic. It's also it makes you think. It's about the meaning of life and everything else. For me, scoring this, I don't. Do you know what? I'm going to give it? I'm going to give it a 42.
A 42. That's very appropriate. A 42. Will we allow that? I'm not too sure. Well,
that's all you're going to get. A 42.
I'm not too sure. Give it a 4. Put a 4 down, Craig.
No.
And finally, let's move over to Susan. Go ahead, Susan.
Hello. This is Arthur Dent calling from Magrathea, and my mates have taken off and they've gone into the center of this planet, and they've left me here sitting on the side of the cave opening, and I don't know what to do. I'm really confused. I'm really upset. I'm absolutely positive that we're going to die here, and that things are going to get really, really bad. But that's okay, because I've seen people in bathtubs taking baths, piloting spaceships, and I've gone to many other planets. I'm becoming an experienced space traveler. I'm excited about that. That's a really great thing. I'm in my dressing gown, and I have my towel, and I have Ford Prefix. Thank you, Ford Prefix, for loaning me your copy of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy to keep me company. And by the way, I really think that you messed up on the Earth. I mean, that mostly harmless. I mean, come on, give us a little more credit than that. Come on. But I'm an Earthman. I'm from this little cottage, and I've endured a lot since my cottage was destroyed by bulldozers, and my planet was destroyed by Vogons. I met Trillian again. I met Zaphod Beeblebrox, who was this other guy again, and he did run off with this woman that I was trying to pull. And I'm super glad to have been part of this adventure. The kind of thing that is impressive to me is that Zaphod is never going to stop getting into trouble. He's always trouble. And Trillian is always going to be brilliant and always going to be fun. She's amazing. The kind of zany humor that goes on around me is just amazing. I don't understand how much funny this can be packed into one moment of time, or 2 moments of time, or 6 wonderful episodes of time. I mean, it's just brilliant. And Marvin the paranoid android is sitting right over there. Life. Don't talk to me about life. Oh, sorry. Shut up. I'm doing something. Okay. Great. Thanks. Yeah, I'm gonna be rating this whole experience, I suppose, and I believe that overall, I think that I'd rate it a 10 out of 10 because the experience itself has been not prosaic but Prozac. It's been an antidepressant. I mean, I could have gone quite around the twist, having had my planet destroyed, but instead I'm soldiering on. I'm seeing what's out there. I believe I'm going to make sandwiches, and I believe Trillian and I are going to have kids, and I believe that there's other stuff coming, but unfortunately those sorts of things won't be shown unless they do more movies. But the television, somebody followed us around with a television camera for a while from the British Broadcasting Company, and they are hilarious. Stealing their socks and stuff, or moving their camera equipment to the back of the Heart of Gold. That's just like my favorite thing to do, is to prank them. Anyway, that's just because I'm fed up with all of this, and I'm sure I'm going to die. Anyway, thank you for sending the missiles, Magrathea. I'm really sorry that about the whale and the other thing, and so you don't have to send that one guy to call me a total knee biter, a jerk, at any point. And so I'm really actually quite grateful to a certain Douglas Adams for writing all of these adventures for me. It was truly sweet and glorious for me. And so anyway, 10 out of 10 for all of this. Thank you.
And how on earth am I meant to top that? How on earth am I meant to top that? I love you, Susan. We love you. Really, seriously, how do I top that? How do I come off that? First off, I've never seen this series before. I watched a little bit of the film. Really did not like the film. Really didn't like it, so I turned off the film. Never read the book or audios or whatever else there is. But I watched this for the first time, and I'll tell you what, it's funny. It is really funny. It's a comedy. It is a comedy. There were several times where I laughed out loud, and I was basically laughing the whole way through it. There were really, really funny, genuine funny moments. It's well written. It's well acted. Arthur Dent, at the beginning when he's having the house destroyed, he does sometimes remind me of Victor Meldrew. I don't know anybody else gets reminded of Victor Meldrew. Ford Prefect, obviously not perfect. Prefect was great. He was great. The actor who played him. The actors were all great in this, and the actresses. Marvin, the depressed robot, was absolutely hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Oh, the voice and everything, just hilarious. I did have a lot of fun watching this. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what to expect, but I didn't think it would be a comedy. I didn't think for 1 minute that it'd be a comedy. I thought it'd just be like a sci-fi adventure thing. But I did notice the Vogon captain did remind me of the monster from Four to Doomsday with Peter Davison. I don't know whether anybody else gets that little bit of a vibe from him, the style of him, I think, the look of him. Lee's going like that a little bit. I think he's got a little bit of a tremor. Got a tremor there, Lee. But no, I really did enjoy it. I enjoyed the announcements bits, you know, those little where it tells us about the universe and things like that. And it tells us about, you know, different alien races and different planets, and I just thought I thought it was really good. People are saying that the graphics or the visuals weren't that good, or I think they were all right. I mean, yeah, when the ship comes to destroy Earth, you can tell the ship's not there, but that's because the ship wasn't there, you know. And today it would look better today. But Connor said, and I agree with Connor, for once I must be insane, but it is all about the writing. If the writing is good, then it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. If the writing's good, the acting's good, then it doesn't really matter about the graphics, because it's the writing that's important. Like, I've seen so many things with great graphics, mind-blowing graphics, that have been awfully written and awfully acted, and it means nothing. It just means it looks nice.
Like Frozen.
Oh, you're in trouble, Connor. You're in the doghouse. Anyway, I'm going to give it a 9. Yeah, I'm going to give it a 9. I'll give it a 9, and I'm going to throw the floor open to everyone to speak.
I think probably your best bet would be to feed Connor to the ravenous bug bladder beast of trial.
Oh, don't you worry, I will.
Yeah.
I would just like to say there was one actor I forgot to mention, Colin Jeavons, who played the MC at the restaurant at the end of the universe. What a brilliant actor he is. He's been in loads of things, even Doctor Who, The Underwater Menace and stuff like that. But what a brilliant actor. And there was, it has been gone down and written that Douglas Adams wrote the part for Arthur Dent part for Simon Jones.
Yeah.
He wrote the part for him, so he is Arthur Dent. There's nobody else. He's the man for that. Yeah, it's a cult classic. I'm surprised you didn't expect it to be a comedy, seeing as Douglas Adams wrote quite a few Doctor Who stories with a lot of comedy in them. Alid.
Yeah, but people do other things. They don't write, you know, all comedy all the time. You know.
Oddly enough, Douglas Adams was writing for Doctor Who at the same time as he was writing the television series, because he'd done a Doctor Who episode.
You mean the radio series, don't you?
And because, pardon?
You mean the radio series. What happened was the radio series got commissioned at the same time he was writing, I think, The Pirate Planet. So he
that's
really...
Right. Well, that's right, yeah. And so he was writing all these things all at the same time. It just goes to show what an incredible brain that man must have had. Nobody's mentioned the captain of the ship.
Aubrey
Morris, who was a brilliant English character actor. He was never off the screens of the television for as many years as I can remember. All the time I was growing up, he was there on television and doing parts in everything. But superb. As the captain of the ship that's carrying all the hairdressers and telephone cleaning people and all that sort of thing. Just absolutely amazing. absolutely brilliant. And the news that after all the telephone cleaning people had left the planet that they were sent away from, there was a massive breakout of basically a plague, which people called off of their telephones.
Yeah, all from a dirty phone.
All from dirty phones, yeah. And Magic Thighs, one of the two people that goes to Deep Thought computer to try and get the answer to life, the universe, and everything. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. A totally magical cameo from him. And Vroomfondle, his mate. And they were just absolutely superb together. They bounced brilliantly. And yeah, the marketing girl, the girl from marketing, that announced to the captain that one of their film directors had managed to rescue a camera from the wreckage of the spaceship that was actually set to crash into this planet, and they survived. But he'd managed to rescue a camera and was going to do a documentary about the captain. It was just so whimsical. I think actually the guy who did the MC at the restaurant at the end of the universe, I believe on stage he did the MC in Cabaret, which is how he got the part. Yeah, there was quite a few bits that went on like that in the whole thing. Like David Lerner, who actually did the physical Marvin, had been doing it on stage, because there's also a stage play of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and he had been playing Marvin on stage, but of course his voice wasn't right. But yeah, it's just an extraordinary story that the Earth is an organic computer. And I love that idea, an organic computer. What a wonderful, wonderful idea.
It's over the years also, it's been anytime you see in any TV series or read any book, if they use the letter 42, the number 42, more often than not, it's a nod to Hitchhiker's Guide. It's an in joke. You either get it or you don't. But
absolutely, yeah. Yeah, which just goes to show how important amongst the cognoscenti the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy actually is.
Mm.
Maybe it's just me, but
yeah, it is.
The actor who played for Prefect, Dixon, I can't remember his name, Dixon.
David Dixon.
David Dixon, that was it. What he should have? Do you think he should have played the Doctor? Because he was so very Doctor-like in his portrayal of Ford Prefect.
I think he would have been very good.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I think he would have been very good.
I haven't thought of that, but yeah.
Yeah, once I was rewatching it this week, and I was just thinking, missed opportunity there.
I mean, the reason he got the part was they were looking for someone who was a bit weird and who had weird eyes.
So, Lee, which Doctor would he have replaced?
Well, this was they recorded 1980, broadcast 1981, so it was just when Tom Baker was leaving and Peter Davison was just starting. So...
Well, it's a shame they couldn't time travel and replace Tom Baker then.
And
Connor's just upset a load of people.
and I mentioned this yesterday.
You made a lot of enemies tonight, Connor. Frozen fan, Tom Baker.
I mentioned this yesterday to a few of the guys, where they was in the pub and they got £6, and they gave him a £5 note, and he says, "Keep the change." Inflation. Wow.
Yeah.
You would not get change from a five. You wouldn't even get £6 for a fiver these days.
Yeah.
No way.
That really dates the program, doesn't it?
It really does, yeah.
Well, but as usual, what doesn't date the program, just as you mentioned, and the gentleman in the series mentioned, is the organic computer. And just before they get to the answer, the Earth is gone. And I said, isn't society and life possibly like that? You know, that, you know, you strive, even the MC said it, you know, you strive and you try to do this and that. And, you know.
I also like the dolphin bit where we think we're cleverer than the dolphins, but we're creating wars and killing each other, and the dolphins are having fun in the sea. You know.
Yeah, thanks for all
and
the
they get away first.
Yeah.
You leave a message which human beings don't understand, saying so long and thanks for all the fish.
Yeah.
Yeah. But oddly enough, Peter Jones, the voice of the book, who had also done it in the radio program, was also an extremely well-known comedy actor.
Oh, yeah.
And he had, some years before, played Mr. Fenner in The Rag Trade, which is probably one of the most successful comedy series that the BBC ever made.
Everybody out.
Yes. And everybody thinks of The Rag Trade when they hear those two words. Everybody out. Yeah.
Does Susan have anything to say? Because I keep on seeing her box light up. You there, Susan?
Yeah, I just was like thinking that it was as timely as it was. The whole concept of the organic computer and the artificial intelligence that led to it. It was. I mean, that is pretty timeless. It hasn't. I mean, it's going to be a long time before we catch up with the technology and the science fiction in the story. I find it really delightful that the comedy the comedy doesn't change. I mean, the comedy is timeless too. I mean, oh my gosh, you know, it wasn't by mistake that they chose Simon and Dixon and the Joneses and Dixon and stuff for their parts, because they were sweetly funny and they had great chemistry together. I mean, I don't know, you know, hearing Arthur Dent grump to Zaphod and Zaphod sassing back. I mean, that kind of interplay was really well done with these actors. Oh my gosh. And I really found that that they were sort of dreamy in that you know, the way they played it, and it was great. So of course, you know, with that you would assume that they would put that they would make or one of them, Dixon, would make a great doctor. But you know, it's just that they were so dreamy, they were so out there when they were doing it, and in so many ways they've really made the thing fly for you know, now 2 or 3 generations of people. It's just brilliant. I mean, and so, and I agree with all of you guys about, you know, about the kind of thing that has happened with the series. And yeah, so that's pretty much all I've got. I'm really glad that 42 is a great in joke. So yeah, and so is where's your, you must know where your towel is. That where's your towel, and 42 and Babel fish. I mean, they even named a translation app Babel fish because of this. They've got it's pretty much ubiquitous throughout our culture now, thanks to Douglas Adams. And so that's really awesome, really.
It's surprising that there was no follow-up series, because they had 4 more books they could have done if they wanted to. But I don't think Adams was too happy with the way it was done, or something.
No, he wasn't happy with it. Yeah, it's a shame they couldn't have done one more series to sort of tie it up. But maybe the beginning and see if they could have fans, and it did bring a lot of fans to it. So maybe it fulfilled its purpose of introducing the audience to his way of thinking and his comedic style, and then they probably followed the books or the radio afterwards.
The thing is, it was all over the place for a few years there, because not only did you have the radio show, which they eventually sold on cassette and CD, you had the book to read if you wanted to. They have audio books of that, and then you had a TV series. So it's one of those things that there's plenty to choose from.
And now to finish off the cast, Beef Daddy is going to recite some Vogon poetry.
Oh no!
Yes, go
He's
ahead.
going to make us all cry.
Close us out.
No, please, not. No, please, just.
What do
I'm
you?
going to press the mute button on my.
I found in my armpit one midsummer morning.
Whoa!
Oh, the wonderful flagelants. Oh, the screaming floodles. And I wonder if there is another one. And green spaghetti noodles.
Is that it? Is it finished?
Well, I actually wanted to ask, can we confirm if
No, you can't ask.
Whoa. Can we confirm if any whales were hurt in the making of this?
No, but a bowl of petunias was
looking
totally destroyed.
Yeah.
I know some have not mentioned this about the cops, about them being surrounded by the cops. It isn't easy being a cop, and just how, I guess, they're just trying to shoot them, and then they keep hiding, and they can't coming out, and then they keep hiding, they keep trying to shoot them. I thought that was pretty funny with them.
They were the campiest cops I've ever seen.
Thank you for supporting the police force there, Jason.
Does anybody else have anything to add about Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? No, that's it.
Don't panic. Don't panic.
Yeah, don't panic.
Respect the battlefish.
Yeah. I'd like to thank everybody here for joining me. I'd like to thank you for watching. And I do have to say, for his comments towards Frozen, Connor will no longer be a member of this group.
Yes!
However, I'm going to make a deal with you. You lot out there watching this video, yes, you subscribers, if you give us 1,000 likes on this video, Connor will return. Connor will return, but otherwise, you're never going to see him again.
But Ali, who will host for you when you can't be bothered to watch?
Oh, well, on that note, you're never going to see him again now. You're never going to see him again now. And on that note, as ever, don't forget to tell us what you think about this series. Have you seen it? What do you think of it? And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And as always, we'll see you next time.